Welcome to Conversations with a Queen. I'm your host, Veronica Paige, and tonight we have with us Kara Kemp, who has been in the kitchen with me earlier, and her husband, Tony Woodall. Welcome, y'all.
Hi, thank you.
Hi. So we've got all this lovely food set
Yes.
out. Typically, I'd be eating this while walking around talking to people. But tonight, we're just going to sit here and eat it. So if y'all want, go ahead and start getting you some. We've got plates.
All right.
I'm gonna need a plate.
They've even given us forks. Oh, you might want to blow my hair off. My hair goes everywhere.
Fiber.
I'm so sorry. Typically
Yes.
at conversations, we like to start conversations with anything y'all might want to ask a crazy old queen
Oh,
like myself.
so many questions.
So many questions.
Kara doesn't have near as many as I have.
Oh, I can't wait for all of it. And if I get a little verklempt, that's not even the way to say it, is it?
Verklempt.
Whatever, I'm not Jewish.
Who was
I'm not
it?
good at it.
Oh, it was the church. Was it the church lady?
Was it the church?
Was it? I feel like it was. I think it's just sort of
Talk
a
amongst yourselves.
normal
Is that what you
Yiddish
said?
understanding.
I
That's
do
sweet.
need some bread. I'm going to reach.
Oh.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Chicken.
I know we've not even gotten to the chicken, which we are all excited about. Oh, thank you. I'm just going to get a little one just to start with. I'll come back in a little while. So,
Thank you.
Kara, tell us a little bit about yourself, just so we know your background and who you are.
I'm a storyteller, so it's really hard for me to make anything short.
I
It's
understand
terrible.
that.
Cut her off. Let's see. I'm a native here in Murfreesboro, but I traveled all over. I had many careers:
Okay.
theater career, cater to the stars career, and now I'm the ringmaster at a hair salon and spa here in town.
That sounds super fun.
And I do storytelling and I do life coaching.
And where do
so-
you do your storytelling? Because I hear you have an event, right? Not too far from now, is that right?
Yes,
Coming up?
yes.
Tell me about that.
I produce a stage called the Bloom Stage,
Uh-huh.
and we do a quarterly basis. But next week, on the 19th, December 19th, we have a solstice event with Poetry in the Borough. So
Oh, fun.
we'll do some storytelling, and I have a gal, Tara Seister, who plays the banjo, and she makes it sound really weird and fabulous.
Awesome.
And I do storytelling, and she plays music, and we do that in a week from today.
Very fun. That sounds exciting. I hope
is
I can make it
exciting.
out for that event.
Yes, I would
Yes.
love to see you there anytime, or sometime if you want to come and tell a story at the Bloom Stage.
I might do that.
Oh.
That would be fun.
I would love it.
That would be fun.
Our February show is Mixtapes and Mirrors. You can make any story up around mixtapes or mirrors, whatever that may evoke in you. It's a semi-Valentine's, it's close, it's February 13th, but it does not have to be. It can be about love, lost love, or just those mixtapes that,
Oh, that sounds so fun.
yeah,
I might have to come out and do that.
I think you'd be great.
Veronica would love that. So I have a little background in drama therapy. I
Oh.
went to grad school for drama therapy. And that sounds a lot like sociodrama to me. Yeah. You're laughing like you know what that is. You do, don't you,
I feel
Kara?
yes.
Yes. So yeah, that sounds fun. All right.
What is drama therapy?
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, to be able to work out your things that you may need to heal from or work through, but doing it through role play or some.
Enacting it. It's just using theater as a bridge, as an avenue to get you from point A to where you need to be.
Okay.
So when I went to grad school, I went for drama therapy, and I wanted to use it to work with domestic violence victims to help them assess what they had experienced
Right.
and give them a tunnel, a challenge, a way to get through it. Sorry.
I'm like, I didn't expect that brown sugar to be so bubbly and delicious.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yes, no, you're good. And then I wanted to help them use the arts, the theater arts, to transition into a world of trust, because that's one of those things that you lose, that, especially in domestic violence, that you
Right.
lose. You lose your trust of people,
Right.
and it's hard to grow from that and move forward. And so you just get trapped in this cycle of finding these people you don't trust. So that's what I wanted to use it for.
Yeah.
But it can be used for so many different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that because you lose your trust for yourself too. Like, your decisions are bad. You can't trust yourself anymore. So sorry, I said that right.
You're good. No, you're good. No.
So how do you feel about what I just said?
All that bubbly brown sugar in there. Yeah, already. No, that's excellent. I love it.
But I mean, that's really for me. A lot of people when I have mostly first-time storytellers, and then I have people that have told stories before. But the first-time storytellers, when they start getting into their story and working a personal narrative, they're like, "Damn, this is like therapy," and it is, because every time you empower yourself and know your story and rewrite your ending, it's therapy.
It's empowering and it's therapy. Yeah. And there's no better way to get to that point than through the arts, especially theater, because it involves it all.
And in a world where we are currently being more disconnected and less available and aware, which only heightens the fear that you have, the arts are so important, and we are forgetting how important they are to us.
Yes, every bit of that. So Tony, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I got a little passionate, so I didn't cry. Thank
I like
goodness.
it.
I
I love
usually
it.
cry a little bit. Sorry. So Tony, tell us a little bit about you and your background.
Well, I'm from North Alabama,
Okay.
Decatur. Small town that probably 35, 40 years ago was the same size as Murfreesboro. But Decatur is still the size pretty much it was back then, and Murfreesboro has exploded. I out of college wound up going into ministry. So I spent 25 years as a pastor, and then found myself living out of it, finding my way out of that. And it wasn't because I necessarily got so upset with where I'd been. It's just that I felt like that there were worlds out there that I was not a part of, that I knew nothing about, and yet had a whole lot of answers. And I wouldn't, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, I wouldn't have known what to do with you. And I just got to a place to where I felt like that I did not love as many people as I thought I loved. And I just could not,
Or that you said you loved, right? Like you didn't love as many people as you even, like you
Yes.
said you loved.
Yeah, I thought I loved everybody, and yet I always had these breaks that wouldn't let me go places with people because they were outside of what I had thought that the God that I served was happy with. Plus, a whole lot of it was just that it was a world I didn't know anything about. I didn't understand some of it and a lot of it, and so I just would stay away from those people. I mean, I didn't know at the time that when you're born white, male, you wind up 6'8", athletics, straight, all these things that are the norm. I didn't know that I was the norm. I thought I, could experience everything in the world, but just did not know that how much of the world I wasn't a part of. So, I just decided that I needed to figure out what it was going to take for me to love everybody on the planet. And it's taken a hell of a lot of change. And yet I don't find myself any further away from love, which is basically what I've kind of melted down and feel like that if you're born Christian, if you're born in the Western part of the world, there's more of an odds you're probably going to be Christian if you're born into some kind of religious family. And so I just felt like that the unloving didn't look anything like Jesus. The more I read, the more I realized he was probably hanging out with folks that I wasn't. And I had to find those people.
So you were saying that you wanted to learn to love more. And I was trying to explain that this me, who I am, is all about love, and it took us a long time to get to that point. It took me a long time to get to that point. I was raised Church of Christ,
Me too.
right? In good old Smyrna, Tennessee.
Oh.
Yeah, and you're taught to hate. I
But
mean, they
to
won't say
sing-
that.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
know
Right.
we were taught to hate.
But you
We
can
were taught
sing
to
really
love.
well.
No,
Okay.
I won't make anyone ever hear that. Trust me, Karen. Mama can't sing for keep that tune out of a bucket.
Okay.
But I was taught to hate myself, and it took me a long time to recognize that and grow from that. And luckily, my family has finally come around, and they love me for who I am and what I do.
That's beautiful.
It is, but it's taken a lot of work, to get to that point.
Right.
But yeah, it's just part of being who we are, and we get to love everyone and have no walls up and break those walls down for other people.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we confuse love with pity. So we finally get to a place to where we think, gosh, Veronica's different from me, so I need to somehow show her love because maybe it'll help her not be who she really is.
Right.
I can help change her, But the place I came to is that you don't need my acceptance. I mean, you are the beautiful soul that you are. I mean, you already have God's acceptance. If in your life, in your world, whatever it is, there is a God, the universe. I don't care what you call it, love,
Buddha.
Buddha. It doesn't matter. to me.
Jesus.
Jesus.
Yes,
I live with
I hope
Jesus.
she's up there. I ain't
I
gonna lie.
know it.
And
Yeah.
so, for me, it's not that you need my acceptance. It's that I need to accept you for who you are, not with some ulterior motive, because of the beauty of the soul that you are. And so it has been hard for me to come to that place too, like I guess from your parents' side,
Yeah.
I found that I was not a good listener.
Because you were a big old white man in the South and you didn't have to be a good listener.
Yeah.
One of the things that I realized about me is this, that I didn't know how to ask questions. And I feel like there's a lot of folks out there today who are very inquisitive. I mean, they would love to know, but they don't know how to ask questions. Like they're afraid that if I ask the wrong question, I'm going to be humiliated, or it's not going to go well. So if I ask you, what makes you feel at home as Veronica?
Oh wow.
Is that
That's a good question.
was that get way too in your space?
No, not at all. You're
You'd
not.
tell
No.
me, wouldn't you?
I would tell you.
Good.
That's a fun question. There's a lot of reasons I feel at home in Veronica. It's a mask, right? We always feel safer in masks. And for what Veronica does, she is a performer, so she's on stage and she's trying to entertain people. She gets to wear really pretty clothes and really cool heels, which is amazing.
And
all the
look
time.
fabulous in
And
them.
look fabulous, thank you. I can't take my own horn.
Me too.
But she gives me a chance to be not me. So in my everyday life as Norman, I work very hard to help build my community and make it stronger through food. Go figure, right?
Yay.
Yeah. So when I'm Veronica, I get to be this fun, entertaining, energetic person who sometimes I'm not as Norman. I have to pull back a lot as Norman and be very professional and pulled together and on point. Whereas Veronica can say, "What the?" and nobody's going to say anything about it. Did you like how I bleeped that out right
You
there?
did.
Thank
Self-editing.
you.
Do that for me.
No, that was for my viewers. I'm going to give them one episode where I don't cuss, okay? Maybe.
It's a Christmas special.
It's a Christmas special. It's a holiday party here. So, but no, that's a good question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't scare me with a question.
Well, and not trying to. I just feel like that we've got to learn to have conversations.
Yes.
People who have grown up like me and who've been in positions that I've been in, we've got to learn to not talk over people. But we're never going to learn unless we ask and listen.
That's right. And this is a great venue for that.
Yeah.
It's a great chance for anyone that wants to ask a question that they may be scared to ask, because I'm not afraid of anything.
From me, I mean, Kara will tell you that my biggest fear that I have in my life is the loss of affirmation of people. It's like a drug to me, affirmation. Yes. And one of the reasons why I don't find myself in a pulpit with a lot of people sitting quietly listening to me talk is because I live off of that. And when you have to have an audience's affirmation, then you won't tell them the truth. Mm-hmm. You'll tell them what you think they want to hear. Mm-hmm. So you can get that drug, that feeling. Well, for a long time that was easy for me to do because I believed all the same things that they believed, so I could just say the same things every week. But once I started believing different things for me, once my inclusion included people who weren't like me, then all that changed. Then I couldn't stand up and say the same thing anymore.
And then he started getting kicked out of pulpits.
Yeah, that happens. When you start speaking truth, things happen.
Mm-hmm. When I came to the conclusion that, I started looking for myself, and I found there were only 6 passages in the entire Bible that said anything about same-sex relationship. And Jesus didn't say one word about it. And of those 6, not a one of them has anything to do with adult relationships. It had to do with, it was about power. It wasn't about same sex. So it was about an adult abusing a child. Mm-hmm. And I started looking at those kinds of things. I'm like, why are we still saying the same stuff we've been saying forever? And torturing people, basically. It's what we've been doing with God. Mm-hmm. And then Kara, she's I don't know if you've noticed it, she can be a little outspoken.
She is amazing.
And she calls me on the carpet every night. Like, I'll ask a question. Explain to me, Kara, about why this gentleman is dressed like this or this young lady is dressed like that. And she'll go, why are you asking that question?
Why does that matter? Right.
That's the question,
Why is that
isn't
question? I wonder what her name is. Let's go meet that person. Mm-hmm. But it's because I've been raised in such gender focus and gender bias. For me, if I can't figure out what category everybody fits in, then the world doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
right.
I
Because
get that.
Then you don't know where you fit in.
I don't know where I fit, and I am a boy, and damn it, we run the world. And everything
Not anymore!
When it gets all messy, I can't tell where I fit.
Yeah.
So, thank you for inviting me into your world so that I
thank you for coming.
Find out more about who I am.
Good. Yes,
So-
anytime.
You find yourself in many different crowds of people.
Yes.
And for you, do you think that there are some good questions that people are missing that could really connect people? Are there questions we should be asking? And then are there some questions that we just need to leave the fuck alone? Like, why are we even still talking about
Merry
things like
Christmas.
that? Merry
Sorry.
Christmas.
No.
Ho, ho, ho.
I think every question's important.
Sure.
And I am not ever going to put questions out there that I think need to be answered because I want everyone to come to their own question and bring it their way.
Okay.
There are no questions that should not be asked. We don't learn if we don't ask, right? Mm-hmm. And that's so important. I learn something new every day. Veronica took 15 years off to raise her nephews with my mom, her mom, his mom, all of our mom, all the people up here in my head. So for me, Veronica is a completely separate alter ego. I know that sounds completely crazy. Maybe I'm split. I'm not sure. It's okay.
Go on, mommy dearest.
Thank you. Yes. But I do refer to them as 2 different people. So Norman has this normal, quiet, somewhat quiet life. Veronica has this glamorous, amazing, everybody knows who she is life. I keep that separate inside of me so that I don't meld the 2. However, in the past year since she came back, I have noticed that there's been a big changeover in both of them, and they're becoming more of a person connected. Crazy, see? That's okay. We're all
But
crazy.
that probably signals a little bit of healing, like a reckoning that you are personally having with whatever baggage you had had before. You are becoming more comfortable with it and you're healing from it.
Yes.
So maybe not crazy.
Maybe not crazy. Maybe healing. That's a good point. I like that. That's what we're going to start saying.
Drag therapy.
It's all theater.
I mean, it would seem like you know, you won't have to think as much about things. You can just feel it more and experience just your who-ness. And I mean, I don't think it's that much different from me trying to figure out sometimes who I'm trying to please.
Right.
And kind of morphing from one type of me to the next. I know there's some differences in because nobody's looking at me and seeing a different person. They don't know what's going on in my head sometimes.
Rarely. Rarely.
But on the inside, you can be working just as hard, you know, trying to be who you think you're supposed to be instead of being who you are.
Well, and that's, yeah, definitely. So there are still, of course, we all go through this. We all do it. We all have that thing in our head that says, well, I'm going to be this person at this point, and this is how I've got to act. Veronica's just one of those many people I get to portray. The good Christian boy, and then Veronica, and then Norman, normal Norman. So.
And I've been around Kara. I know what it's like when she's in the middle of a play. Or she's getting ready for Bloom stage.
Though he did miss my first ever drag king performance.
I did.
Oh, no.
He didn't want to see me with a mustache.
That's not true.
true.
I
He was doing a wedding.
out of town. So,
But I don't know how you do it, man.
West Tennessee.
It's hard to become a man
Yeah, it
with
is.
a mustache.
So much easier to be a woman.
Yes.
Takes me weeks to grow a facial hair. No, I'm kidding. Takes a day or two, and I'm good. No.
I derailed that train. I'm sorry.
It's
You were
okay.
you
No,
were
that
so
was a good one.
No. I was just going to say, as performers, both of you guys,
Ladies.
I'll be a guy. It's okay.
guys in the
Right now, I'll be
generic,
anything you just call me.
in the generic sense. I mean, it's a lot more work.
Yeah.
Well, there's a safety and some separation. But I think that is where, just as being good humans, you have to have certain boundaries that allow you to protect whoever you are and whatever you are. If I'm going to Brene Brown it up, it's the recognition of who I am in my arena and having a safe perspective of where everybody else is so that I can stand firmly to who I am, but also be kind and accepting of others, and also not let something change me that is not something that fully deserves my attention. So in performance, you get a little bit of a thick skin and you separate yourself from some opinions, and you're like, I'm just gonna throw it on out there, and if they love it, they love it, and if they don't, they don't, and we'll pick up and do something different tomorrow. But you learn as a person from that performance.
Yes. And I think we all learn from every performance we put on, right?
Right. Yes.
And
Yeah,
then
sure.
many of us are learning from other people's performances. How big a performer we really are on the inside. I had a guy tell me one time, he said, look, on the outside, you look like a duck on top of the water. You're just gliding through the water. But underneath the water, I can tell your little legs are just going so fast like this, you know, and sometimes we get worn out trying to think that fast about what our next move is instead of just settling into me and let it be what it is. And some will like, some will not, and that's okay.
So I've been thinking about, the two different worlds that are really all just one big major world, right? They're just little different spheres. But for you, when you started to become more comfortable asking questions or being in situations that you weren't normally in, what changed? Like each of those experiences, how did they change for you, and what were some of your thought processes in them?
Well, I was surprised at how, when I would ask questions, that people weren't offended, and they were kind to me. I mean, because without realizing it in the beginning, I was asking questions about the depths of their soul, which I didn't know. I thought it was just a wig and makeup, you know, or it was just.
No girl is ever just a wig and some makeup.
I mean, I didn't even know. I didn't even know how to ask the questions, you know. But I would, and even when I was asking something that I now know it could have been hurtful. They were kind to me. They just take a deep breath and exhale and say, "Well, at least he's asking, I guess," you know. And so I have found that people who've been through a lot of pain are good readers, and they read people's hearts, I think, probably better than most of us who've not been through a whole lot of pain. And so they can tell when someone's really wants to know, and they actually care, you know. So I think those folks have been very kind to me, because I think they could tell I really wanted to know. I wouldn't try to prove somebody wrong. By this point, I'd done crossed over the bridge, so, you know.
Big old rainbow
Welcome
bridge.
to the rainbow. We're glad you're here. It's okay to love everybody, Tony.
I knew the first time I went to our Borough Pride thing here on the square with Kara, you know.
Yeah.
I was
And how great is it? Like each year,
Yeah.
so much bigger.
So
I love
much bigger.
Yeah, but when
So
the
good.
first year I got there, I'm walking around the square and I'm going, where in the hell all these people been?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, you could, there's not a whole lot, but they're all in one spot. You know, it looks like, wow, there's a lot of people here. And then Johnny, who I had met from you, his band was playing up there, you know, so that
Johnny
was,
Gow Wow.
yeah, so that was so good, you know, that I could see him. But it was, the whole thing was just, and now I can't wait, you know, to get out there and see people. And this past year, I wanted to go take the little preacher guy aside, you know, and talk to him. But then I thought, no, he needs to stay there. The people who are around him need to be around him, you know. I mean, what's happening? I got to quit trying to save the world and let everybody be who they are, you know.
That's right. And that's something else I believe. You know, we're all here for a reason. We don't know what that reason is. We'll never know, right? We just
Right.
have to hope we fall into it at the right moment. But I was at Pride this year, and I was so excited to be there. And I got to see the little preacher man. And me and a friend got to laugh about it afterwards. But it was fun for us because, hey, that brings some credit to who we are and what we're doing, right? He showed
Right,
up. He doesn't
yeah.
show up for all of them.
Yeah.
And it's okay that he's spewing his hate. There's plenty of people to block him.
Yeah.
And there was one moment in particular, he was back there spewing his hate, and the Satanists were over here with their little microphones spewing their love. And I just got to stand there in front of him and look at this crowd of people that are standing there, and I'm like, we're amazing.
Yeah.
You can turn around anytime and walk away. He can't come any closer to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. I love it. But being in this persona lets me do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Norman, I would never have been able to do that because who would have cared, right? You gotta have your face on. People need a face to look at, you know? So I would love it if y'all both had another question you might want to ask.
I know. Yeah, I
My
know.
boobs are getting all
Yes.
comfy on the table. I have to park them back up. Sorry.
I'm in a little bit of a food coma at this particular moment.
Good, I've done my job.
You did so well. Such a good, nourishing meal. Thank you.
Cute, I love how you threw that
You're
in there.
welcome.
Nourishing.
Sorry.
That right there.
That stuff is it's
So good.
dangerous.
It is so good.
Yes, and it's somewhat healthy.
Ish, right? There's
There's
dairy.
meat and dairy.
Yeah. And
That's all we need,
that-
right?
yes,
We need
It's
dairy
a part
and
of the
protein,
pyramid.
So it's all in there.
Bourbon.
Bourbon's a
And-
good part of the pyramid.
and every once in a while
We
we
missed
get
that one tonight,
fiber
I'm
with
sorry.
wig hairs, so we're good.
That's true, fiber.
It could be
It's
one
very
of mine.
fibrous.
Well, I think for me, I love that you're having these conversations, because my main thing is always, like, I feel like it's our fears that hold us back and cripple us and keep us from connecting with each other. So, so from your experience, when people have that hard time connecting, or even for yourself through your entire life experience, when fears have risen up, like, how do you deal with them so that you can be brave and forge forward?
I drink a lot.
Okay, well, there's that. just keep drinking.
Just keep drinking. You will survive. I do not promote alcoholism.
But just drinking.
Just drinking a lot. No, honestly, when I get, gosh, that's a good question, Kara. Thank you. When I'm afraid of something, I find that it's easier just to face it and keep going, right? So even something as simple as walking in here tonight. I was the first one here with my partner, which is unusual. I'm never the first one here.
Why were you here so early?
It wasn't that early. I was just 10 minutes early. In theater, they're taught 15 minutes is early, right?
That's
Or
true.
on time. Yeah. And we got here and I was like, there's nobody here. We'll just stop and throw everything out and then we'll run on down and get a parking spot and come back. But it's nerve-wracking because it's the middle of Murfreesboro and it's the middle of the afternoon. So court's letting out. And I'm in full face. And that's a good time.
Yeah.
It's a little nerve-wracking inside your body, you know?
Yeah.
But what are you going to do? We've got things to do. We can't hide just because we're scared. We have to
No.
face it and keep going. And so we do that. And then we have things like this happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel over the years that it is becoming more comfortable, though, to be out and about in your drag in the daytime, in the broad daylight?
I feel like there's a lot of work still to do.
Okay.
But I feel like it's a lot better than it was. Tony, do you have another question while we're sitting here?
I have a million of them.
Okay. Give me one good one.
But since I've got
But don't make
one
me
shot
cry.
left, and I guess it more than a question, I just want to say that there are millions of us awakening. And for those of us who have spoken things in the past on behalf of God, I'm really sorry. And thank you for your beautiful grace in the way you have been kind to us.
Well, Tony, stop it. I
No.
can't take it.
No.
Woke up.
No, thank you for that.
Yeah.
That's why we're here, right? Is
We
to
were the
help-
ones who needed the mercy.
Well, and love. It's all love.
It is
That's
all
all
love.
it is. It's all love. We get to love each other. Doesn't matter where we come from or what we do.
Yeah.
Half hug.
Oh my gosh. You got me right there, man. I'm not going to lie about it. Oh my God. A little bit right in the eyeball. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
So on that note,
Yes. Before he asks any more questions.
any more statements that I can't handle because I get verklempt. I got it right that time.
Yeah, you did. Way to go, Babs.
Thanks. I want to thank both of you for coming and joining us tonight. Thank you for cooking with me in the kitchen. I had
Thank
so
you.
much fun.
It
and you're
was.
welcome anytime. And thank you for coming and joining us
Thank
for dinner.
you for having me.
Always, always. And as always, y'all, thank you and remember to have courage and be kind. And good night.